Welcome to the Peak Tension Podcast. I'm Dr. Derek Wilcox, and with me today, not my wife, because she's out beating people up right now, but I have a really special group of people who haven't actually all gotten together in many, many, many years. This is the old training group from Appalachian State during my undergrad and one master's degree, two master's degree, lots of undergrads, but I'm going to go around the room here and have everyone introduce themselves because they can do a better job of it than I can. Justin, you want to lead us off
Oh God.
as you're off camera?
So I am Justin Blatnick, Garrett Blatnick's older brother, the handsomer, less athletic, not as strong, but no, I got started in all of strength sports. Dr. Derek was one of the reasons. I got into some geared powerlifting. That was an adventure in itself. That led to this group kind of all come together. And then let's see, got into the Highland Games and still do that stuff now. And then I'm now a fireman. So got rid of the degrees and just, you know, pick old people up off the ground.
Doing actual important work. Matt?
Hey, Matt Smith got into strength stuff doing with Derek and Justin up at App. Loved having in the neuroscience lab. Started geared lifting, had a blast. Same kind of thing. Got out of App and now I'm a cop.
Zach?
So I actually met these guys at a local powerlifting meet kind of deal, local meetup in Asheville, and decided to attend App State to train with them basically on a whim. Got my degree in exercise science, and that served me very well for my time in tech sales. And now I'm looking to go back to school to be an electrician.
Garrett?
So I'm Justin's younger, more successful, handsome, wealthier. I don't know what other adjectives can we use here? A little big brother. I got into strength sports. I guess I went to Justin's first meet, a USAPL meet, back in like 2010. Yeah. And then I was driving to the meet where Derek set the world record at 935 squat and 181, and I ended up in a ditch. But anyway, I did get into powerlifting because y'all, and then we did a little bit of Olympic lifting, and yeah, Highland Games. I just competed in a powerlifting meet last week. I'm a professional Highland Games athlete. Yeah, and then I have some restaurants and a gym now, so that's what I do now. Matt Smith. That just makes me laugh thinking about like the Quinn, like we
Yeah.
talk about these. Like I'm sorry, but it's like we talk about oh yeah the neuroscience lab, but we got banished from the neuroscience lab, and y'all were geared benching in the Quinn, and I think Chelsea graduated before that. But
I was
like
gonna say, I
the
don't
five of
remember
us-
this.
the five of us and Robert Camisol were benching in the Quinn together. I just like, it makes me laugh because then Derek and Justin left and it was Zach, me, and Matt lifting in the Quinn during the summer, where Matt was just like, I think you overhead press jerk 315 or something at one point. I don't know. Just memories are flooding back. So just
Yeah.
kind of laughing
Matt
at
just
our.
casually doing backflips at like 200 pounds body weight.
Yeah, that too.
Hey, all those memories flooding back, that's 100% why I wanted to do this. But Chelsea, round us off here.
Yeah, I'm Chelsea Hamilton. So I went to App State. I got my undergrad in exercise science and decided to stick around for my master's. And I feel like that's around the time that I started lifting with all of you guys. Fun fact about me, I have a super curvy spine. And so the one thing my doctor told me when I was a kid is don't lift anything heavy. And we see how that worked out. So lifting with you guys in the lab, I feel like I had eyes on all angles of my lift to make sure I didn't hurt myself because I'm still standing injury free after deadlifting. What was it? 25, I think is where I maxed out at, which is crazy for me to think back on now that I'm getting close to 40. I'm like, how did that happen? And I feel like it's you guys. Like you guys are how that happened. So anyway, yeah, I'm pumped to see everybody catch up. And I too, I actually just messaged Justin not too long ago because somehow the videos from his YouTube channel back in the day, one of them was from the actual push-pull. And it was just
Yeah,
a
I remember that.
compilation of everybody's lifts, and it had everybody's music in the background. And there's so many songs that when I hear them now, it's like I go back in time and I can see like everybody smacking themselves in the chest, getting hyped up, like ready to move big weight. It's like I'm right back in the thick of it again.
That's awesome. thanks so much for you guys taking the time out of your schedules, because we've become scattered out across the country at this point, and it's difficult to get everybody's real lives aligned to do something like this. So small miracle. Like, I know you guys
Yeah.
made a great
Guilty.
effort for this, but I'd love for you guys to talk about what you think of when you reflect back on our time in the biomechanics lab, because as I've gotten older, and it's been, many years since I've been in there, just like the rest of us, and the longer time goes, the more I grew to appreciate it. And while you're in it, most of the time you don't know you're in the good old days, but my time with you guys was definitely a massive part of the good old days for me. And I can't help but smile every time I think of all of you. And that's why I wanted to get all this together, see all your pretty faces, and reminisce a little bit. Anybody
Thanks,
who's got a yeah, anybody who's got a memory pop up, please
2
toss it out.
words: trust fall.
No, God. We're very good at trust falls. And
Oh yeah.
How about Derek block pulling? I think it was like 750 to
Barbie girl.
Mario. No, Barbie Girl too. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mario. I remember Mario. I remember that we do that. We do that. Can I curse?
yeah, go for it.
Okay, we do that shit typically. Hey, I just want to make sure.
No, I appreciate it.
But anyway, I remember when we do that shit, and because I still do it today. I still mess around in my gym today because I have Bluetooth speaker. When I get on it, I'll play just random music, and it was Train for Chaos. You don't know what they're going to be playing at the meet. You got to train for
Yep.
chaos.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I remember you playing. Barbie Girl. I remember the Mario. It was the Mario theme music you pulled. It was a block pull of like 750. I also want to go back because I've held this grudge against all of y'all. I guess more Matt, Derek, and Justin. Because when I first started lifting, I thought that you could just squat for 2 hours and do a set of GHRs and then go eat witch, and I thought that was a
The
workout.
witch.
And imagine I don't know how much stronger I'd be right now had I known that like you should do like some lunges, some unilateral work maybe. Not just like squat for
Where
2
were
hours
you
and then
at?
be like,
How did I not get off the hook? Because I remember having to lunge down the hallway in the convocation center, dragging a sled behind my ass. So I don't know how you dodged that, but I certainly
that was
didn't.
Wednesdays.
He was skipping those days. That was cardio.
That was Wednesdays. Sundays were literally just squats, set of
Lots of food.
GHRs, then witch.
True story.
The amount of witch that we ate.
I had
Yeah.
a beer
I'm in
pong
business.
set of witch cups. I had like 20 yellow cups so I could play beer pong was how many I had.
The names were always great too.
Oh, yeah.
Just to get the workers to yell the most ridiculous shit ever.
Well, like that's kind of like the memory that brings me back the most. Like when we talked about doing this and this whole group was I'm trying to remember who somebody smarter than me that probably put some sort of book or presentation together talked about like how important training environment is. And that's something that I've never had since we left app. I've had a couple guys that I kind of train with, but it's never been the same. I've basically got to training for myself, and then realistically training for the Highland Games is kind of it's individual sport. Obviously it all is, but you don't really have to rely on a group. You can kind of rely on a camera. And that's something that I talk about all the time. And at my gym, when I opened it, the first like 3 years up until COVID, we actually had a really great environment in there. That wasn't me. I wasn't part of it. I was coaching, but I was not lifting in that because I lifted like in the mornings or through in the mornings or whatnot. I wasn't in that group. And that's something that I miss is just like, it is that camaraderie, but it's also the push that I know if Matt's going to hit this weight today, I'm going to try to stay ahead of Matt. Or if Derek's going to be 100 pounds more than me, I'm going to try to stay within 100 pounds of him on whatever lift is going to be. And it's just obviously the knowledge base, but also like that push is something that you're never going to find. And the consistency that we had is something that I don't see anymore with people, at least in my gym, is that it was Sunday at noon. Like that started squat day. Some of us were hungover and would show up at 12:10 because they had to get a candy bar and an energy drink. But Sunday was noon to 3 was squat day, and then it was witch. Like I miss that so much.
Dude,
Same.
we had this conversation. Me and Justin had this conversation so many times. So, like, I tore my pec in 19, and I drank. I closed on my house the day before. I drank, and then I went to the gym and decided to bench dumbbells, and the story's done. But anyway, just laughing at like not dehydrating yourself before you train, and then like thinking about how plastered Justin would get on Saturday nights most of the time, and then we'd go in and squat and he'd load 600-700. It's like, how did you not die? Like, how did we not get more hurt?
Yeah, got lucky, I guess. Enough
talked
of the
about
right people around to spot me.
We did train those trust falls pretty hard.
Yeah, trustful. Yeah.
Trust falls.
Take it.
I feel like the personal connection was definitely underestimated back then when we were there. Like, I think about even when I picked up and moved to Colorado, I still have the picture that you guys sent me in the mail of yourselves with the note, right? And I was so homesick in Colorado. And I had one friend that had moved out with me. And I think at that point, by the time I got that in the mail, I think she had actually moved back home. And so I was just out in Colorado by myself trying to decide if I was going to stick around or not. I was working at a gym, but it was wildly different, kind of like you guys have talked about, right? It's not our gym, like our workouts together. Although Justin did come to visit and he got to see the gym and lunge the track with me. But yeah, I just feel like the connection it's really special. You know, it's the kind of thing that allows us to, like, regardless of how long it's been since we've seen or caught up with each other, it's like we jump on a call like this and it's like you just pick right up where you left off.
Yeah, definitely. I guess it's got something to do with, the shared struggle of self-improvement that we all had. I mean, you gain that camaraderie usually through some form of struggle together. And instead of us trying to win things as a team, we were actually pushing everyone else as individuals all at the same time. So it's not just, hey, we can win. It's like, no, I want to see you specifically win. I want you to be the best version of yourself. And that's what makes a great training group, because it's not always a selfish endeavor. And I've talked about the traits of really high level athletes. At some point you have to be really selfish. I surveyed tons of like Olympic caliber coaches, and they all said that in common. Their best athletes were inherently selfish. But when you have a group of people who want you to succeed, you don't have to be selfish because it's already built in. And I think that's something that we had that was really, really special.
The one with that too, but also that I think made us better than everybody else, like, I'm going to say it like that, is the shenanigans.
Yeah,
And I love the
absolutely.
and it is the training for chaos and the not taking it so seriously. I mean, yes, there's times that we get definitely guilty as charged of getting mad and we're taking things too seriously.
You don't say.
Absolutely.
No
Yeah,
shit.
absolutely. Growing up a lot, I promise. But like, there's so much fun. Like, I still, like you said, what are those memories? And I'm like, I remember when we do like countdowns. And one day I wrote girls, 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 and bench press on the board because it was Motley Crue. Girls, girls, girls was the song of the day, and just like stupid stuff like that, and playing the weird music. Like, that is, so many people like can't take it a sport or take like that environment and have the fun that we did on top of it all. That's the like missing piece. I think that so many people miss out by doing this on their own and not with a group.
I think of Justin I remember doing push-ups, weighted push-ups one time, and he crisscrossed the chains over my back, and I was getting tired, so he went to take them off so that it would weigh less, but I could keep going, and he just drug it right across my face. But you keep going. You don't stop for a second.
It's a character builder,
Exactly. All of it is.
Matt, Zach, what have you guys had in mind there?
Man,
Definitely
I
like
remember.
Go ahead, Matt.
At the
Go
same
ahead.
time. At the
Uh,
same time.
Yep, yeah, you got to. Go ahead, Zach.
No, you go ahead.
Now, I just remember specifically Derek. It wasn't the Quinn. It was what was the big one?
SRC?
Yeah, the SRC. It was me and Derek up there, and I had just started getting into geared lifting, and we were doing like deadlifts and stuff. And it was me and him and like a handful of people. It was just, in the background, and he's helping me trying to get into these freaking briefs to go do some deadlifts and crap like that. And everyone's just sitting there staring at us like, what in the hell are these two doing?
Best part.
I mean, it's all kinds of shenanigans, but like you said, the consistency and the camaraderie and, having a singular purpose, like, yeah, hey, we're here to get stronger and try and set world records, but I want Derek to do it. He wants me to, get stronger. That's the only thing that's going to work.
And hanging upside down from on the lift or whatever else we had to do to make everything work.
I think one of my favorite things was just like the sheer amount of, like you said, the shared struggle, because so many of us lived together, we worked together. We worked together at more than one job in some cases. Like I just remember, like especially in the summers, like we would all spend like so much time with just shenanigans. Like it'd be like a random Tuesday, and it's like, all right, we're gonna go throw some Highland Games practice. Then we're gonna bust in the Quinn through the back door shirtless. Justin's rolling a cooler behind him for whatever reason. Like just random stuff like that constantly happened, but like it was always so much fun. But it was also like focused. We had that purpose that we were all striving for together. And even academically, many of us majored in the same thing. We all had finals at the same time. So like there was just a constant like understanding of everyone.
What do you guys actually think contributed to being focused enough to actually make a lot of progress, but at the same time being so batshit goofy all the time that we made the whole process fun? Because it's not really a combination that I saw a lot after. Just observing people.
To a certain degree, I feel like it's the personalities of all of us. It's kind of like we brought it out in each other. I feel like there's just some inherent traits about all of us that are similar in that way, because I also think there was never someone there were never too many shenanigans to where, like, when it was time to be serious, you had to check someone, right? It's like we got down to business when it was time. Everybody was serious when it mattered. And so I feel like some of that is just probably what made it work so well, is some of those like inherent personality traits that kind of helped us find our way to each other and stick together over time, because it's so easy, right? It's like I'm not dreading, oh, it's Sunday squat day and I'm going to go have to be at the gym and lift stuff for 3 hours, right? It's like, I'm going to hang out with my friends. I'm going to move heavy shit. They're going to make sure I don't die. And I'm going to leave feeling pumped about it, right? I won't name drop, but my mentor at the time, right? I'll get to rub it in his face a little bit that I'm doing muscle stuff and not heart stuff. Like, I think all of those things together we struck the right balance, and we valued the same things.
That's when I was literally like, I opened my mouth to speak and you beat me to it. I think it's everybody's individual personalities of like, I know I'm competitive. I know I'm competitive with myself, but it was always trying to chase Derek on bench, because Derek's bench was the only thing that was in reach for me, was trying to bench more than Derek. And so like, obviously, like you mentioned earlier, Derek, the individuals, like we obviously were pushing each other as a team, but obviously seeking the best for each person. And like Chelsea said, we knew it was like, all right, we could goof around as we're warming up, but once a certain weight hit on the bar, like everybody had that inherent, like everybody's time to start getting serious. We know what percentage is on the bar, and everybody like locking into that focus. So then after the main stuff was done, the shenanigans come back. But it's, I think it's everybody individually, like the competitiveness that each person has with themselves. And then we did a really good job of planning meets and planning competitions, and using, like, half of us have exercise science degrees and backgrounds, trying to take that and apply it to like something more than a book or a test. And we were always like talking about planning for the next, what's coming next, and having that focus is where I think that made us a little bit different than, like you said, you don't really see the serious and the fun. You see they go in, this is a job or whatever, I go do it and I leave, versus the personalities we had. I mean, we started social media shenanigans before it happened, sending Jason Pegg videos, eat cheeseburgers and doing 17 feet box jumps. Like, those are the things that we did at the end or beginning. And I still wonder, like, I go back and go, how the heck did they ever agree to let us hang out in that lab for a couple of years? Like,
no kidding.
And I got a key to the building. Like, that made no sense any way, shape, or form now when I look back on it.
Yeah, I don't even know what word you would use. The lack of better judgment, perhaps, to allow us to keep a squat
Nothing
bar and a
bad
giant
happened.
monolift. No, not at all. But I mean, just on paper, that sounds like absolute insanity to let some college kids do.
You're responsible. You're in college.
What's funny is the way things flushed out, though, there was a level of competition, like it wasn't all the time, but it wasn't all the time where like we do seated box jumps and see who could jump the highest or whatever. And it like just random stuff like that. It was like, we kind of took, we had that level of competitive drive amongst ourselves, but also it wasn't really that serious. And nobody was a jackass about it if they did better than anybody else. It was just, everybody had a drive to do better, but we actually also had that, which I've trained since, y'all graduated. I trained around the Quinn for a while. I moved to Memphis. I joined a powerlifting team. I did that for 2 years, a year and a half. And like, you still never had that competitive, like fun aspect of training with guys. And I had great training partners. I'm not saying anything about that. It was just never like, hey, I had a competition with a guy to see who could deadlift faster. But like, we hooked up a Tendo unit, but like that was for 8 block and that was it. Cause outside of like that, it got too competitive and it got away from it. People didn't know how to compete. Like, well, people were just kind of like wanting other people to fail in a group. It's a really weird dynamic. And our dynamic was everybody kind of respected where everybody was, but everybody wanted to be better than where they were. So it's very interesting to have trained in this group and then gone to other groups and see that like I knew how to train with other people because I got to train with you guys. And I was a part of sports teams. And then I came to Memphis and I watched a guy just literally like root against a fellow powerlifting team member. And it was like, what's your problem? Like, why would you act that way? It's like, why are you not a part of a team? But yeah, it's very interesting but meanwhile, we managed to have all the right people at the right time that were immature enough, but also mature enough to do that. So.
Yeah, like I remember always feeling like trying to, like my goal for the day, like Justin was saying, to keep up with Derek's bench press. Mine was just to be like
Just
above
hit on
people's warm-up sets. But like at the same time, I knew like the bar could go back down, right? Like my turn was just as important in the rotation. And like people paid just as much attention to spot me as they did for like Derek's big attempts. Like everybody had that respect for each other, and everybody was aware of like strength is strength, but strength is not universal. Like everybody's different, and everybody's just there like trying to better themselves. And that kind of mutual respect, I think, went a long way.
So well said, because I feel like I wasn't training to break records or anything like that, right? I was just training to push myself and see how much I could do, because I'm super stubborn like that, and I was just trying to push the limits. And I feel like honestly I feel like it really made me who I am. Like, it might sound like an overstatement, right? But the care that everybody showed when I was lifting, when you guys are doing serious things, right? The only time I ever competed was the App State push-pull, which I like closed my eyes and said yes to and expected to lose because I didn't train upper body at the time. But like, I never felt bad being like, okay, I'm going to go squat. Like, does somebody have a second to spot me, right? And of course, like there was always time, and it was never like, well, you're like, wait a second, rest a little bit longer. It was like somebody's there, somebody's paying attention. They're telling me knees out, butt back, whatever, whatever I'm not doing. I think that was really well said, Zach. I think the level of care and attention and just like the sense of belonging. Everybody's important. Everybody has goals, and that group support was really unique.
Yeah, I think my experiences with you guys a lot really shaped how I viewed like gym culture and things like that. And I made a lot of assumptions back then that as I've gotten older and worked with lots of clients over the years, other people just don't have those experiences. They're not exposed to the same people in the same ways. Like people's anxiety going to the gym or, even trying a lifting competition of any kind, they always think that the strong people are going to judge them for how much that they can't lift. And it boggles my mind because I never ever saw that. Usually the better people were, unless they were just an absolute sack of shit, they didn't care how much anybody else was lifting unless they were competing against them in the moment. And then once the moment's done, it's all gravy. But they only cared about effort. And that's the one thing that none of us, I don't think, lacked in. When it was time for somebody to go for a PR, it didn't matter what the numbers were, where the decimals were, if there was a comma in it or not. Everybody's PR mattered the same. And
Even if it was in kilo pounds.
Yeah, all the kilo pounds.
Not the kilo pound.
Yeah, training in that lab and mixing some kilo and pound plates, I amazed people with my math skills in sports science labs afterwards, all thanks to that. Just trying to figure out math in your head with those plates.
The best PRs are the surprise ones once you go back and you're like, "Crap, I counted that wrong." And then you still and yet
Absolutely.
you
You
still
just
did
completely
it.
misloaded.
A question I kind of have that bounces off of this is like the one thing that I think this group did, and it is the continuation of how we had respect for each other, but it was the sharing of knowledge that I take away from my time. And it goes back when I walked into Stratiform, and I honestly don't think I ever met somebody as big as Travis Gardner until I did meet him when he was at his biggest. When I first walked in the door, I was like, "Oh gosh, who is this guy? He's kind of scary." And I didn't know a thing really about lifting other than football taught me this. And then like just getting immersed in that group, the first day ever doing a pool fest, hitching the shit out of 440, calling my dad, be like, "Dad, you'll never believe this. I just deadlifted over 400 pounds. I've never done that before. And there's dudes deadlifting like 800 pounds and they let me do it." But from like that day, the knowledge I learned so much more than even like, so my question kind of goes to Garrett and Matt, not having exercise science backgrounds, but like to y'all, like how much I learned outside of a classroom thanks to our training group and the constant, and it worked great from steal it from Dave Tate, live, learn, and pass on, or lift, learn, and pass on. The passing on of knowledge that I got from so many of the guys that I trained with at Stratiform that evolved into this group and the guidance in that realm. Like, what did you guys take without having that book background that the rest of us did? Like, I just didn't really have that. It was for Matt or Garrett, one of you
All
guys.
right. So, I mean, not having that background, I didn't really expect anything. I remember the first day I came in, it was, Derek loading a shit ton of plates on the mono. And I was like, completely intimidated. Like he was saying, you were not here, you know, I was expecting these strong ass dudes to just like, "Oh, who's this guy?" And I mean, everybody was teaching somebody something. I mean, I never really worried about not having exercise science background. Everything I learned came from you guys, and that's just kind of how it's always been. I don't really think it mattered too much.
Yeah, I mean, not having an exercise science background, but being in the gym for the past, that was 2012. So it's been 14 years. I mean, just application and understanding that. I mean, you get a good learning of biomechanics and just random stuff just from being around Highland Games, powerlifting, and all that. It was just, I trained with people that were way smarter than me. Like, again, everybody here has ridiculous degrees in exercise science, and Dr. Derek up here and whatnot. So like, yeah, it didn't matter. I mean, it helped because learning in, like, I could walk into like the gym here and listen to someone talk and go, "Oh, this guy's stupid. I don't need to listen to him." Like, generally speaking, like, people will talk and like try to sell you something, and it's like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm not the one to sell that to. Like, you're dumber than me." Like, what is it? The Nick Offerman from
I know more
Parks
than
and Rec.
you.
I know more than
you.
It's kind of like you have a trainer walk up to you and they're like, "Oh, well, this is how you bench," and it's like, I know more than you. Like, I've been around geared benching, and it's kind of cool too from being around geared benching. It was the meet I did this last weekend. There was about 10 to 15 guys. By the way, y'all, there were 10 to 15 guys. They were about 60 to 73 years old, so y'all aren't out yet.
Tell that to my hips.
Get the gear back on, y'all. Hey, they told me you don't need to worry about your hips. You got that gear on. But it's funny because I swear to God,
The guy I live with, Levi, said the same thing. He got better briefs and fit better. He's like, "My hips don't hurt no more."
I was like, "Oh, okay. That sounds totally right, sir. You go ahead and squat." But yeah, anyway, just being around that geared lifting though, and being around like this past weekend. And then when I moved here, it was kind of funny because I was a big guy. So people were like, "Hey, can you spot me?" And I spotted guys benching 600 pounds solo, mind you, not a 3-person handoff like we used to do. And it was like, "Oh, hey, like, I don't feel comfortable doing this." But like having that background and understanding like geared lifting kind of helped facilitate some of those friendships I gained in the gym when I left. And then like this past weekend, being able to talk to the guys about geared lifting and being able to name drop Derek and whatnot. So Justin's training tomorrow. So I'm glad you get your pre-workout in.
There you go. Yeah. When I was up at Elite FTS, probably a couple years ago at this point, Dave Tate actually warned me about that dynamic especially with the new banned event shirts. It's like, those things are the worst things I've seen happen to retired lifters because
Ugh.
they can put them on and they can bench their old numbers like almost immediately and it doesn't hurt. And or at least not like the old bench shirts did. Those guys are just going to screw themselves up because they're just going to start blasting shit and they're going to load everything up. They're going to rip everything off the bone. And he's like, don't do it. And then literally later in that session, gigantic Matt Smith comes in. He's like, hey, have you seen these new band shirts? I'm like, and I looked over at Dade and he would go, but he showed me what it was. He put one on me. He was like, put 225 on the bar. He's like, I haven't warmed up. I'm like deadlifting over. He's like, it doesn't even matter. I'm like, all right. So I took out 225 with one of the little band shirts on. It touches easily and it launches off my chest so hard I like had to catch it. And I re-racked it and I looked at Dave and he was like, see, it's like crack. I'm like, yeah, get that thing away from me. I can't do this again.
I feel like going back to what Garrett was saying about, the commentary from other random people in the gym. I feel like for whatever reason, people at the gym feel really compelled to come up to women who were lifting back in, the 2010, 2012. And then the confidence that I developed, that I knew what I was doing
I've heard
from
these
you guys.
stories. This is funny.
Oh, I don't think I'll ever get rid of my Facebook because I don't want to lose the Facebook memories, but every now and then I will have a post that comes up where I made a status about some guy at the gym that came up and told me, like, you really shouldn't deadlift sumo, here's what you should be doing, and all the commentary. And my favorite one is me saying, like, somebody came up to me commenting on my deadlifting. Meanwhile, I was deadlifting more than that guy that was coming and like giving me his 2 cents. So it just like having the confidence to be like, okay, cool, like I'm good. I know I'm good. And to not just be like, should I be doing something different? Like, am I doing something wrong? That's the kind of thing when I say like it shapes who I am now. I feel like doing hard things and also having people in your circle to back you up and invest in you. Like that's the kind of stuff that develops confidence that becomes part of who you are, right? It's not tied to a point in time. And I do feel like we were all kind of at an age where we were figuring out like who we were as adults as we were like walking the line of mature and immature at the same time. But
Allegedly, yeah.
I feel like when I think back, this crew and like the lifting and the work that we did together, I think played maybe the biggest role in how I show up in life now, honestly, because it's all about doing hard things, pushing yourself, like never writing anything off and saying, oh, I can't do that. I'm not even going to try. Like, no is not an option, right? It's what do I need to do? Who can help me? Who can support me? Who can help me solve or figure out what I need to do, right? And just because, I don't have that same community in other areas, right? Whether it's my gym now or whatever that looks like, I feel like the sentiment of it, the lesson and what we all took away from it kind of is something that carries forward through your whole life.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's such a good thing to hear. That's actually perpetuated itself in life afterward. Thank you for saying that. Holy crap. Tear
So when
immediately.
you're saying that, like, when Derek just told you to suck less, that meant a lot to you?
That is the most motivational thing you'll ever hear.
I didn't pick that up. I just thought I should suck less.
Suck less.
Shout out
Sometimes
to
that's all
Jeff
it
Crouch
took,
for
though,
that
right?
coaching wisdom.
It's like it's lighthearted,
Sometimes.
but it's also real. I think so. I think back to what you all were talking about. Whenever like Justin, you're calling and telling your parents like, "Ooh, guess how much weight I just lifted." When I take that back to my parents, like I tell my dad how much I squatted, he's like, I really don't think that's a good idea. Like, hey, your back's kind of a piece of crap. Like it's crooked, it's C-shaped at the bottom. You probably shouldn't load it with heavy weight. And I don't believe that. And to this day, as I'm older and my spine is still pretty resilient in my opinion. And it's because I have lifted. The only thing that keeps it from hurting and becoming a problem is lifting heavy weight. And so, but I think again, if you have the right people in your corner, they're like, hey, don't do stupid things. Like, you got to be mindful of the way that your body is shaped so that this actually works to your favor. But to have people that are like, hey, you don't have to rule it out. Just do it smart, do it right, do it different. It's like the mindset shift of, oh, something's wrong with you. Here's all the things that you can't do, to like, well, here's what you're working with. How can we do it and how can we help you be successful? So yeah, suck less is a lighter way maybe to say that.
I love it. Chelsea,
What
do
a
you
cap.
happen to you remember being told about an all-time world record deadlifter that had scoliosis?
I know. We definitely talked about this.
Yes, we definitely did. But it was something I remembered, like when you first started lifting in the group, you were really, really nervous about your spine condition,
Yeah.
justifiably so.
Yeah.
But I remember actually having that conversation and seeing your face. It was like you pushed the clutch in and something shifted gears. You mean somebody with scoliosis can lift heavy things? And you were just like processing really, really hard. I didn't know if you actually
So
remembered that
unlike
moment
me.
or not. Yeah, exactly. I mean, granted, he was, 132-pound black man, but, other than that, exactly like you, yes.
Yeah. Arms that could scratch
Yeah,
his knees standing up.
yeah. Well, that's
I
because
think so.
when he looked at his deadlift and his nipple was sitting on top of his belt, so because his spine went, it made that sound too.
Well, there's so many things like, and Chelsea mentioned it, that this group like kind of train, like you train and I didn't realize until, like you said, you don't realize you're in the good old days till you're not in the good old days anymore. And it's like how many different lessons that we learned, and you don't realize you learned them until after the fact. Like there's the different memories popping in my head, or like that Chelsea's like, all right, we're going to go run before we live today. And I went and ran and I hated life. And I was like, well, I don't think this is right, and then I'm going to lift tired, but I survived. And then we learned that stronger legs run hills faster. And it's like, that's like a simple one. I remember like Derek, I'm trying to drive him from Boone to Asheville for this squat. And Derek's like passing out in the car, and I'm freaking out as we're heat blasting the car, and Derek's in garbage bags and head up. I cracked the window this much. He's like, I need the window. I'm like, you get this much. And I'm like, am I going to kill this dude driving to this meet? I learned how to cut weight and I learned what's good, what's not. And it's a lesson you learn, like how much this guy pushed. There's times I did it for Highland Games in the future. I use some of the same stuff, cutting weight for different meets and stuff like that. Like you don't realize you're learning until you're after it. You don't realize you're in it. And same with like all the different, like the camaraderie of like the spotting and the pushing each other, like the the thought process of we're going to go bench in the student rec center or whatever on these auto spot benches. We're going to strap the bench stable with bands and rig it up. And then we're going to get some random kid to come over. And we're like, here, hold this on my chest. There's 700 pounds on the bar. You have no idea what's going on. And he's just like standing there freaking out. And you're like,
Puts it
it'll
on
be
there
okay.
sideways.
Just stand there. Like, you don't realize that now I own a gym, and it's like, it's not commonplace. Like it was commonplace with this group we knew exactly, everybody knew what to do on every lift. Who's spotting where, how that person reacts, how that person lifts off. We knew all that stuff, and you don't realize you learn all that until you're out of it. You like just ask some random person, they lift you off on bench and they pull you off the bench. You're like, oh God, this is not right. And you have to like teach them then, and you don't realize how good you have it until you're not in it anymore.
True story. And I remember, I don't remember a whole lot about that drive from Boone to Asheville cutting weight. Because
You were blacked out, of
I was
course.
a little out of it, but I remember the window cracking open and being like a dog trying to get my nose out of it. But
He's like,
the
I need
main,
just some cool air, just a little
just
to breathe
something,
in.
yeah. But I remember looking over at you and you were driving. You were like,
And just I was drenched in sweat. I was sweating. I sweat all the time. I was sweating my ass off because Derek's sweating. I'm like, you'll make it. You'll be all right.
"Yeah, you're a trooper. It's appreciated. Anybody fire away with anything? This is just for fun."
I don't know about y'all, but I've forgotten a lot, and I didn't realize that until you sent this message. It's like, oh
That's what we were
shit,
talking about
what am
the
I
other
gonna come? And then I realized how long ago it really was.
Dude,
I was like,
so
okay,
long
it
ago.
kind of makes a little more sense.
Yeah, that's right.
Matt, when I think of you, I think of you deadlifting in your cowboy hat.
There's still a picture of that floating around somewhere.
There's
Oh, that's
videos.
awesome. I remember being completely, like 100% frustrated at how much easier it was for you to seemingly bench at a bench shirt than it was for everybody else.
I got
You
incredibly
got
lucky.
into that thing, and it was like a fish to water. It's like, more than everyone. Perfect.
So quickly. It was like, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
I didn't do this well when I put one on. How does this work?
And I remember we went to a meet, and it was one of my first ones geared, and they misloaded the bench. by an extra 50 pounds. And I was like, that's amazing. Because,
Did it anyway.
just
Yeah,
did it
did
anyway.
it anyway.
Oh, man. We start getting into meat stories. The meat we did in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, we
Was that
drove
Matt?
Gene
That was it, right?
Richlack. The late Gene Richlack hosted this meet, and we drove up there, and we were in like the smallest room I've ever seen a powerlifting meet in. And we go to this meet, but then we also got put up in a hotel that was like, I think they had like an Amish rum springer there that night or something. That it was this like rave in this. We were like, there's no one there, and we walk in from dinner, and it's like a full on rave going on.
Yeah.
And I was like, where the hell are we? That was one of those like, I can't believe I'm doing this right now.
There
We
were
packed in a
also
van and drove.
loaded diapers in the pool of the hotel,
In the
just in
pool.
there floating around. Yeah, that was unreal.
Lancaster location with Gene was actually the last meet I did.
Really?
Yeah. That would have been shortly before he passed.
Yeah.
May he rest in peace. Yeah, that was a couple years after that, I think.
Holy
But I
cow.
know what you're talking about. I'm sure it's the same venue because it's literally like a room. It's like a long rectangular hallway. There's a monolift in the middle, and then like
Yes.
fold-out chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I
a
think it was
bathroom
called
in
the
the back. That was it.
Brunswick.
What's up?
Was it called the Brunswick?
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Might be right.
Maybe.
Yeah, because I was living in Pennsylvania at the time, so it was like the closest affiliated powerlifting meet for me. And I'm like, oh, I know who Gene is. Let me just drive down the road.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there was two.
I remember loading bands on the mono and tipping over the mono. Derek.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that really well.
Oh,
Hey, yeah, we learned that there was a threshold there of how much band tension you could use without slingshotting the mono into oblivion. And I had to unracked it, and the thing started going. I had to like sit in a half squat.
Squat it
Everybody's
down. That was
grabbing
the
the bar.
smartest thing you did. You just squat it down a little bit.
Yeah, everybody grabbed it and like, the fuck do we do now? Because when you try to tip the thing back over, it gets heavier on me. I'm like, oh, just try to stand up. The mono goes away.
Afterwards, stacking dumbbells on the legs.
Yes.
yeah.
That was our solution, not to take the bands off, but to put dumbbells on the legs.
I still remember, like, it's funny to think back to, like, especially with this group too, and not, I don't think everybody did it, but like the evolution of like convincing somebody to do some geared lifting and like, all right, let's see if you can fit in this. Not if like you could use it, but like, let's just see if you could fit is the start. And like trying to fit people in different size gear and just like, just put this one on and then just trying to figure it out. Like the first bench shirt I ever wore was like horrible. And then it was like, then I got one too tight and you have to put it on inside out and all the little tricks and hanging upside down from the monolift to try to get out of it. And the time it took to learn all that stuff. Like, it's like, man, if we would have devoted that much time to something else. That's so funny.
It was convenient that none of the stuff fit me. So I never had that experience.
That's
You
true.
got like briefs though or something at some point, didn't you?
Wear like old deadlift suits and stuff, but like that's nowhere near as involved as like putting on a Leviathan or like a Phenom bench shirt or anything like that. It was just like pulls briefs on. Okay, here we go. Throws on Derek's old deadlift suit from a weight class higher. It just slips on like a pair of shorts.
But you look terrific.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, Matt, you had like a Jenny's squat suit, a canvas.
Yeah.
That's
So
like,
I
where'd that
think
come from? That's old.
all of my gear was the hand-me-down stuff, and it was amazing. I loved it.
Was that from my buddy Garrett from high school? Garrett Huffman?
Yeah, Huffman.
Garrett's
Yeah. I saw him not too long ago.
I saw him not too long ago. I see his brother more often. His brother's a fireman in Charlotte now too.
Right.
So, but
That's cool.
yeah,
We definitely had some good times with knee wraps.
I did enjoy my knee wraps.
yeah.
Those were the
I
worst
never
memories.
never got knee wraps with you guys. I had to move here to get people to wrap my knees. I
Yeah.
didn't get gear either. I didn't get any of that stuff.
You never
We
fit
definitely
in
didn't have
anything.
anything that would fit you, dude.
Garrett
No.
used to shave his head and did Olympic lifting with us.
Mm-hmm.
And look at him now, out squatting me in gear.
I
Chelsea,
actually went and
I'm-
pulled up. Here's what's on my phone right now.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Like so much old footage.
So much of our lives at that time is recorded and on various YouTube channels that we all have.
Yeah.
Now I'm intrigued. There's something popped up the other day I got a good laugh at. I can't remember what it was. It might have been like Arnold meat pictures or something like that. Got a good chuckle at Patrick's and
What
Arnold.
what
Maybe the
meat
trip
did
to
you
the Arnold
do?
was fun.
What meet did you do, Derek, with Brian Schwab? The little 165er. Wasn't his name Brian Schwab?
There were a few, but you might be thinking of the Iron Man that was in Knoxville.
I remember the only thing I remember is you came back from that meet and all you brought back was your phone and you were like, look at this video. And it was you and him with samurai swords, right? Rolling in a hotel room. And it was like, oh, cool, Derek, how'd the meet go? And you're like,
That was also Garrett Huffman. He was in that too. Yeah, that was after the evening was spent at the hotel bar with Brian and his wife.
You don't say.
good.
Yeah.
Bar and then
I thought you were sober when you did that.
So, I mean, somewhat.
Oh, there's a picture of a powerlifting Oreo somewhere.
Yep, that's
There's
Facebook.
like 4 or 5 of us all in a bed snuggling.
I think it's all of us plus Garrett Huffman.
Yes.
I
was
just
the
want to
road
say
trip
for
to
the
the
record,
Arnold.
I don't think I was in that one.
You were in that
There's
one.
all
You were
of
not.
you.
There's a trip that's not with this group, but me and Garrett went to the Arnold. It was my last meet, and he brought a gallon of rye moonshine. Felt horrible. That's the number one thing I take away from that, other than I bombed at the meet, was that if we got pulled over, there's nothing we could do. You were never getting that smell out of the car.
Forever.
It was very well disinfected, though, I'm sure. Has anybody hit a PR to the song Barbie Girl since
100%.
we all trained together? Okay, right on.
I feel like I don't train to music anymore. I don't know what that says about me, but I don't
Psychopath.
like wearing
Weirdo.
headphones, and my gym is psychotic. Like if they play music, it's super quiet because I can't hear it.
Oh, wow.
I actually will lift in silence in my garage in the mornings a lot too. Like if I go out to the garage to lift, it's just like something about like complete silence other than the weight moving.
Glad
What,
to
just
have
so you
another
could hear-
psycho with
just-
me.
Just so you can hear your joints crack and crumble.
I don't
Is
want to
that
hear
what
that.
you hear?
They do plenty of that, and then like my left hip still feels like it has a steak knife lodged in it above 315.
Ugh.
When you're overhead pressing and you feel just bubble wrap in your shoulder and you're like, we'll keep going.
I mean, I'm wearing an elbow sleeve under my shirt.
No.
Oh Jesus! You
Still.
haven't changed one bit.
No, I remember.
14 years later.
Like, we're gonna start warming up. Let me put my sleeves on.
Hey man, I move a lot of stuff these days for work. Like my elbow is just killing me. I'm like, I know how to solve this problem. Tiger bomb and elbow sleeves.
Living life equipped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Justin's stupid bike tire thing that he used to voodoo band everything with before voodoo
Mhm.
bands. That I just kind of funny.
I got my elbow voodoo banded today.
Nice.
I will say we
what I was
had
gonna say is,
all that new stuff.
I still listen to the crazy music, the random music. I put on
These pop.
everything under the sun. The guy I train with the most, we play soon as Thanksgiving hits, it's Christmas music gets played now, and it pisses a lot of people off. Honestly, a lot of people don't like it. I'm like, you guys don't know. You don't know where this comes from.
You're not training for
Train for
chaos,
chaos.
guys.
Okay.
Training for chaos.
What
I
happens
feel
if they
like
set the
that's-
rack 8 inches too low?
I used that this week with somebody. I'm not even
Really?
joking. I told somebody about training for chaos this week.
That's
It was a little
hilarious.
different. It was related to the tsunami bar now. And then versus I was like, oh, you can use the bamboo bar and it's kind of the same, but I don't understand this. Yeah, I've never used one, but we did used to train for chaos and we used to do all this stuff. I literally told somebody about this week.
I feel like now the way I train, like you could say it's training for chaos or training for old age at the same time. It's like I'm trying to expose my body to like different rotations, different stresses, different like jumping down off of things, right? All the things to make sure that like I don't get to the point one day where I'm gonna like roll my ankle or like blow my knee when I'm doing all these things because I'm not doing them. And I feel like my biggest achievement and it's been in the last year is I've been doing like conventional deadlifts now. So I have gotten to a point where even though my spine is crazy, I'm not limiting myself to sumo deadlifts as much as I love them. I can actually do regular deadlifts pain-free, which I wasn't even willing to try back in the day, you know. And then once I realized how strong I could get with sumo, because I didn't have to move my legs that far because I'm short, I've got short legs. There was just no looking back. I wasn't gonna restart and work it the other way. But yeah, I feel like that's been one of the coolest things to see is it's like you learn to push yourself in different ways, especially as you get older and you still want to train with like the same degree of commitment. It maybe looks different, but so I haven't deadlifted 275 pounds any time lately, but you know, I can do 150, 160 conventional, which is pretty cool for me.
That's awesome. How's your back actually feeling? I mean, we're 14, 15 years later after you kind of made that shift.
Feels pretty good. I don't know how people survive without chiropractors, honestly. So and they use the torque release technique, that little like tool versus just spinning my neck around. If you haven't looked that up, you should check it out because it actually made my curve improve by 5 degrees in the first 6 months I was doing it. So my curve now is like 58 degrees. It was 63, which is kind of crazy.
Not
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got an X-ray on my phone that I can pull up, but it's nuts, but I don't know. I feel like I've learned to work around it, you know, and I've retrained my brain again to be like, and it's one of my favorite things about my chiropractor is on the days where it does hurt, I'll come in and I'm like, ugh, like I know that my back is stupid, and they're like, your back's fine. Like, look at what it allows you to do. And even my chiropractor will remind me of like the mountain biking or the skiing that I'm just fine doing, or like the big lift that I told him about the week before. And so it it comes back to the people in your circle helping you maintain perspective, right? And keeping you in that attitude and mindset of like, what can you do versus what can't you do?
True story. I think our group was really good for that. Like we talked
100%.
about earlier, like sucking less, whatever anybody had to say. Like, and it wasn't so much about like being insulting to the other person. It was, we would use insults, but in a positive way, like constructive insults.
Yeah. It makes you tough, and it also makes you not take things so seriously.
So I wasn't laughing at you, Chelsea, but whose dog is going ape shit in the background?
That's my wife's dog. He's losing his mind right now.
I don't know. I got tickled in the middle of that.
Sorry. He's actually on the other end of the house. I have him closed up because I knew he was going to lose his shit at some point. And yeah, he saw a car go by.
I mean, he held it together for almost an hour.
True.
That is my life.
Is that a PR for him?
No, not at all.
So what is everybody like? I'm sure everybody Chelsea's mentioned still lifting for life, but like, is anybody still lifting? I mean, me and Garrett talk every other day, so yes, I know what he's doing. But what are you guys? Do you still training? Do you still lift heavy? Like, what are you guys doing? I mean, we haven't caught up in forever.
I'm just lifting for like maintenance performance levels right now.
Derek's going to the lightweight national championship this year.
I wish. I found out that lightweight nationals is the same exact day that I'm coaching the U.S. Army for powerlifting, for parent powerlifting.
Never
at
mind.
the
Maybe
World
next year.
Games. Maybe next year. Yeah, we're starting the run for 2027. So that was a bummer, but yeah.
Yeah,
Other guys?
I've not lifted honestly since like 2020.
No, right.
Whenever the gym shut down for COVID, everything was closed, so we started running around the gym. And we started trying to have a kid, and I just never got back to the gym. I just, between kids and work, I've
Do
just
you lift
not
the kids though?
made it. I absolutely lift the kids.
Still
Perfect.
fill out that T-shirt pretty well, though. I'm not gonna lie.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
The gains are still there.
They're there. They've not gone away.
You could throw on a shirt and do 400 for sure right now.
I remember the first time, I think it was Justin brought one of the bands, the slingshots, and that was amazing. I was so pumped.
And then I've got a garage gym, so I've got like a rack. I'm on like team specialty bar these days, so it's like bench press with the crazy arch has been replaced by incline Swiss bar. My elbows and shoulders are very happy about that decision. Like crazy wide stance low bar squats are now safety squat bar with like a normal person's stance. So like still lifting, but just like making some better choices as I get older. Definitely not even close to as consistent though. Like I've missed or skipped more workouts this year than like my entirety of app with you guys, and we're in March. Like,
Sweet Jesus. Sorry, the dog losing his mind in the background has upset my dogs. who came and huddled around me like the world was ending. And one of them stepped on like all my power cords. So my monitors were going on and off. It was wild.
I feel like those are the things where, like, sometimes I count my blessings with and I found my x-ray. Here's the bottom half of
Yeah.
it.
Good Lord.
Right. So, like, you can understand why someone would say don't do it,
Jesus.
but
Yeah.
here I am. But because
And I'm bitching about my low back hurting. God, I'm a
it forces
puss.
me to be consistent though, right? Because if I go more than a couple days without some type of movement and lifting in particular, I'm going to feel it. So it's just like it forces me to be consistent. I travel a lot for work and I'm making the hotel gyms work again. And I've learned enough to figure out the things to do. But yeah, I feel like I'm probably more into lifting and just like overall fitness now than I've ever been, but I'm thinking about it differently and I'm trying to control like my inner meathead Chelsea that you all built into me back in the day of like, oh, I just squatted 145. Could I do 155? Should I try it? Like, how far should I push this? And it's actually the opposite now of like the hardest part is trying to tame that so that I don't overdo it. Like I did back squats the other week and I hadn't done back squats in forever. I've been doing front squats because it seems to make my spine happier. And I'm only front squatting maybe like 100 pounds or something when I'm doing my workouts. And I still went and squatted, back squatted 145 the other week. And the worst part of it was sitting the weight on my freaking traps because I learned they were really tight. But like to be able to train in a way where it's like it makes me capable of doing that, but I'm not doing it all the time. I feel like that's kind of what I'm focusing on now is how can I be as strong as possible, especially as I'm within reach of being 40 now. And I'm like, I got to build up as much muscle, as much bone, like all the things because, otherwise it's all going to start wasting away. It's all downhill from here.
The old sarcopenia. Yeah. It's around the corner for all of us right now.
Not these quads. They're not in the cards for us, guys.
That's all. Garrett, with your training group out in Memphis right now, have you carried it over any the old traditions or is just a completely own thing?
So Sunday squat day is a big deal in my gym. Huge deal.
That's
It
awesome.
starts at about 10 a.m. because nobody's getting hammered. Everybody has children and like as adults, like Justin, like responsibilities. No, I have about 10 to 12 guys. I have about 10 to 12 people that come in on Sundays and squat. Play silly music and people get pissed off, but then you explain to them that you train for chaos. But yeah, I mean, some of that like my gym, I'm very proud of the community I built and the way everybody interacts. And there is a level of competition, but there's also a level of just a lot of shit talk. And, it's a good time. And the people I have there want to be better. So it is, again, it's not to the extent of what we had, but there are aspects of what we have. It's just, it's not quite as special, but yeah, it is little traditions are still there. Nobody's in gear. Nobody's allowed in gear. Hold on. I got one guy that deadlifts in gear sometimes.
Nobody's allowed in the gear?
Wow.
No, I took a strong no gear stance because I was never allowed any when I started. So I have a very passionate hate for gear. No, I'm joking. No, I got 1 to 2 guys that wear gear sometimes. They dabble. They're a little, bi-curious. They like to play around. They got the stuff. No, they're in their 40s and they occasionally they'll come in and deadlift in briefs and whatnot. They'll bench in heavier slingshots. They don't have they can't fit in their shirts anymore, stuff like that. But I do have a couple of them around for funsies, just to talk shit too. So bye Matt.
I've been around Garrett's environment, and at this point, his environment and his gym compared to mine is much better. It's awesome to see that it is, like you mentioned, Derek, like some of those little traditions are still there in his group. And then, like I said, mine changed completely in 2020. Just since that point, like all of my competitive powerlifters are no longer at my gym because of life. Everybody's moved. I had people move to Colorado, Florida, South Carolina. They've moved all over the place that they're no longer Matt back.
Hey, Matt.
They've moved all over. And so I've missed, we don't have that like cohesive group that lifts together anymore. There's a few that do. Right now, the biggest for us is strongman, but other than that, Garrett's powerlifting crew is pretty awesome.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
shout out to Derek, who helped me get my gym started, by the way. Justin and Derek, because Justin picked up all your equipment, the strongest garage bell gear. I have the strongest garage bell mono. I have a strongest garage bell bench. And then I have a bulldog squat bar that's had 1,000 pounds on it. I have a deadlift bar, and you helped me start my gym. So kind of awesome that this little, college training club decided to get into, really help me kickstart my gym. So thanks for that, Derek.
Heck yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Oh,
I
it's an
still have
honor to
our
still
bench
see it in
press
videos.
boards.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
How about the silly times that we did our little mock meets in our stupid garage where Derek squatted 700 pounds out of a freaking, what was that? Was it it was a Smith machine rack, right? Was it the Smith machine rack, or do we have a real rack at that point?
I don't know. Probably a real rack at that point.
You have the picture in your gym though.
It'd been a rack then.
Okay. I guess it was a rack. That was funny when we used to do those little mock meets.
I just
Load
had a
up 700
flashback
pounds and walk
to
it out.
Derek when you had your hernia that you would just pop in and out.
I just now got that fixed this year.
Every belly button for the OnlyFans.
Yeah, I'm back to having an innie instead of the golf ball sticking out. Oddly enough, when you stop lifting weights with commas in them, your hernias don't poke out as far. So it wasn't like really a problem.
You know what? Yeah, I've had that problem before. Not.
But in jiu-jitsu, there's a position called knee on belly. And for some reason, those knees always tried to go into my hernia. So I was like, yeah, maybe I should get that fixed. And I did.
That probably, I feel like that's like a part of you, like it had been with you for over a decade.
True. Yeah, I didn't realize it had gone back that far. People ask me about it. I was like, yeah, I've probably had it for, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years or something.
Yeah, right.
15.
Way longer.
My hernia had its learner's driving permit.
Yeah, when I was pulling up the videos from Justin's YouTube, they were like 14 years ago. No way. Like absolutely no way.
That's crazy. Garrett, has anybody loaded more than 1135 on that bulldog bar at your gym?
Sure haven't.
Okay.
But you got to remember we're all raw. So I've had a guy squat 830 on that bar. So it's good for raw.
Yeah, that beats my raw number on it. It was like 802 or 804 or whatever it was back then.
Was that raw with briefs?
Raw with wraps.
Yeah, I remember like what were those? They were like, I don't know, it was almost like underwear, but they were the real little briefs.
Goodness, groove briefs.
Groove briefs.
Yeah, little groove briefs.
Because you were like,
Come
yeah,
on,
we're
what was
definitely
it?
raw. Like this is raw as it's gonna get.
Maximize how much this hurts for a 15-pound carryover.
Yeah.
Zach.
Rip your
Zach,
taint apart.
It was what was it? It was the traveling groove briefs. What was that? Didn't you say that?
Yeah.
Come on, traveling groove briefs. It was
The
something.
sisterhood of the traveling group.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
Because like those, like you're talking about like the little like garage meetups and stuff. Like that's how I met everybody, and how I'm like, these guys seem cool. I should apply to App State and go to college on a whim just to
On a
live
whim.
with them. This is a great life decision made by an 18-year-old man-child.
Yeah, I mean, I feel
How
like
about
I
the-
stuck around for grad school just because I didn't know what else to do and I didn't want to leave yet. So, and I don't use either of my degrees in my career now. I guess you could argue by some of the skills that I learned, like stats, for example, all that kind of stuff. Like, sure, but I feel like I just spent 6 years there to make friends, lift heavy weight, and go to char with Justin.
It was worth it.
That's why my legs were sore on Sunday morning.
Char and Palucci's.
Palucci's. And neither one of those are even there anymore, right? I haven't been to Boone in so long.
Char is it's rebranded. Palucci's is gone.
Dyke's gone.
Monday's
gone.
gone.
Portofino's gone.
Parthenon also
Tapper's
gone?
Applebee's is
gone.
closed.
Parthenon's gone.
Parthenon's gone. It's a lot. It's crazy how much has changed over the years up there.
Oh, yeah. I don't even
Over
recognize
by
that.
the stadium is like just buildings everywhere. There's no parking lot basically anymore.
Yeah, it's all apartments and stuff. The last time I drove through the town of Boone, you can't even see them hills anymore because they're just buildings in the way.
That's sad.
I got some bullshit we can talk about. They now have an actual powerlifting club.
They do?
They do.
Run by.
I
I mean-
don't know if he's involved or not, but no, there's like 30 some odd people. I follow them on Instagram. It's like Mountaineer Powerlifting Club or something like that. Like,
Holy
Looking
crap.
this up now.
yeah, they've got like 30-ish people. They lifted the Quinn and they do it. They have an actual club. I'm like, y'all don't even know. You really don't
Yeah,
even
I
know.
was going to say. They probably don't have any idea what's actually happened on that
My
campus
sister
lifting.
graduated app like 2-3 years behind us, and like basically as soon as all of us left, they're like, we're going to upgrade the squat racks and the deadlift platforms, Rogue Olympic bars. Like they just like redid Quinn, and it's like, really? Really?
The
That's
hill
crazy.
to get to the Quinn.
That UREC parking pass?
That's the whole reason that I tried getting a job there, was so that I could park in the parking lot.
Yep, that UREC parking
Yeah.
pass.
Yep. Wow, that's crazy.
I just did scroll through. I was trying to find the 17 feet box jump. Derek eating a cheeseburger at Jason Peg, but it didn't come up very, very easily. So I'm sure my tags and title were not great back in the day, 15 years ago, doing YouTube as it is now.
Yeah.
There is a video of you eating donuts on YouTube though.
Yeah, I got one of those.
Just for anyone listening, 17-foot box jump was equipped, if that helps
Excuse me.
explain it.
Feet,
17 feet. It was an equipped box jump.
Whipped box jump.
Man.
What other biomechanics lab was going to have like 10 ends of Leviathan squat suits just laying around in it?
That couldn't have been funnier how that all went down.
For NASA, a NASA study, or at
Oh.
least the first one was.
I don't ever remember hearing that.
I don't
Yeah,
know
the-
that-
Or
I can't
maybe
remember the
the
first one,
NASA
Eric.
study was after.
I know I ended up writing the paper for I don't know. I can't remember what it was about.
Yeah. Well,
About,
Jared had
like,
the
it was the kinematics of the squat, like what was
yeah.
different in the squat suit versus a raw squat. But like
Mhm.
the loads didn't end up anywhere close to right. We just, you BS numbers, trying to make it work. Because it was just obviously if you squat your raw squat like to a max and then put a squat suit on, you're gonna squat completely different. So it's like the negative in the study is you almost needed numbers of a max in a suit compare the differences. There were holes in that study for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's most any study. But trying to squat in a canvas squat suit narrow enough to fit onto a force plate
Force plate.
that was like 3 feet across, which is about half of my squat width. That was fun.
Your squat width was only determined by the size of the monolift. Like if you could have gotten your feet out wider, you would have.
Yeah. If I could just go ahead and do the full split to parallel and just have my ass on the ground, I would have done that.
Jean-Claude Van Derek.
Yeah. Well, we have crested an hour and 15 minutes. We say we call it for tonight.
Sounds
Awesome,
good.
man. This is thanks for
Yeah,
getting us
this is
together,
good.
Derek.
Yeah,
Dude, I
absolutely.
Appreciate it.
This has been an awesome trip down memory lane. Very grateful for all of you guys. And I hope you guys reflect on it as much as I do and appreciate the time together. Because as we've talked about for the last hour, it was actually pretty damn important for the rest of life. Some good reference points and figure out how to do things well, how to do things not so bad or quite suck so much.
Suck less.
No, I appreciate you guys. And to anybody who is still listening to this, God bless you.
Oh, man.
To all three of you, we appreciate you as well. And like, share, subscribe, do all those internet things.
Hope you learned